I think Chase is the only guy that truly believes that on any given night, he can actually just straight up be better than Jett.
JB and AC. The energy was awesome. Those two are just like really finding their groove.
4 straight overall wins.
$100,000. Adam Cianciarulla. Checkered flag and Justin Brayton.
Cianciarulla has won the 2019 Webb Motocross Championship.
He's gonna do it to become the oldest winner in the history of Supercross.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the AC and JB Show. We're talking playoffs. It is postseason week. Playoff race number 1 starts this weekend, about 25 minutes up the road from where I am right now, Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be a ton of fun. And this is where it all started 1 year ago.
Mama, there goes that man. What do you think they got to do, JB, to get up there with the old dog?
I wish we would have had some video on you because you were cheering on Eli Tomac right behind our set.
Every
You're
single
clapping him.
For me and my guy, AC. What's up, AC? This is where it all started, dude, 1 year ago.
It's crazy how fast time goes. Now we're just a couple of seasoned vets, dude, in the broadcasting gig. Yeah, I've got a couple new suits lined up. Hopefully I definitely think I'm a little bit more organized than I was this time last year. Man, that was something else, trying to get into that line of work. And I might even bring a briefcase this week. And I was thinking no backpack, we'll just go briefcase, keep the script in there, the computer. I don't know about you, but first thing we got to talk about, we're going to talk playoffs, of course, big time of year. A lot of excitement, a lot of buzz. But, JB, we had to get off. I saw you have something on your wrist. Oh, you didn't crash.
Dude, look at this. This is unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
You didn't hit the deck.
I broke my wrist, everybody. I broke my wrist. We left this show 1 week ago saying, oh, we've got all this planned. It's going to be so much fun. The next 3 weeks, we're going playoff racing. I have my dialed-in haircut that all you guys seem to like, which thank you so much. We were talking about golf, riding, all of it. The next day, I go down to Club MX. I'm having a blast. Honda sent me some awesome suspension. I believe it was Jett's Supercross setting. I was having a blast.
That'll do it.
It's going great. And then I caught up to a kid named Luke Fauser, amateur kid, really good. I believe he's an Orange Brigade KTM rider. And a great kid. And unfortunately, his bike broke off the face of a jump.
No.
And I was right behind him. And the bike, I tried to avoid it, but the bike flew into me, hit my wrist, broke my wrist. I didn't even crash. That was it.
So are we talking hairline fracture, or we need surgery? What's the prognosis here? Because you were supposed to ride. We were supposed to get a JB track preview for the playoffs. I imagine we're gonna sit those ones out.
I think we're gonna sit those out, but it's not bad. It is just a hairline fracture. Nothing too crazy. I'll wear this splint for a few weeks and hopefully be good to go. So nothing crazy. I do feel really bad for Luke. I mean,
yeah,
I was like so bummed for him. He was in the hospital for a day or so, and it's like I said to him, I said, you got a lot more to ride for than I do. He's at the front end of his career. And so bummer for him. Wasn't his fault. And just wrong place, wrong time for both of us. And that's just part of it. I was thinking it's actually wild. I've been riding at Club MX for, years and years and years. And I don't think I've ever gotten hurt there.
Well, when you text me originally said you broke your wrist, I was trying to imagine a world and where JB goes out on the practice track and does something sketchy enough to hit the deck and break your wrist. And I had a tough time seeing it because that's how you're just solid. Like you're just solid on the bike. Everybody knows that. You're one of those guys, like when we were racing each other, I felt completely comfortable doing anything next to you. Could be doing a quad. I knew you were going to hold your line. Like you're just that guy, got great technique. And so I'm like, something must have happened. A tree must have fell, bike, and come to find out you get hit with the motorcycle. So that's just tough. And we've all been there. JB. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have been there too. Flying motorcycle, that's never a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a huge bummer. Like I said, the next 3 weeks, I've been looking forward to this literally all summer. I've been looking forward to it for so long. You were coming in town early.
Yeah.
We were going to do some golfing. Had a bunch of mountain bike rides planned. We got some Mathis and Weege and all the boys. Obviously, Steve will be in town all next week. So lined up a bike for him to ride. Was going to take him to some trails in the mountains and throw it all out the window.
Man, that sucks.
So,
it's always right before something you've had planned for a long time, too.
Yeah,
so
it does seem that way, huh?
There were so many times where I had planned with my buddies to like play golf the next day after a race or something. Anytime I had plans off the bike, if I made them for the Sunday after the race, something would always happen. Something would always happen on Saturday that wouldn't allow me to go and do it. So I just stopped making plans. You just got to pretend the plans aren't there. But in all seriousness, JB, that sucks. I'm sorry about the wrist. I'm sorry about the wrist, man. But good thing it's a hairline fracture because wrist can get very complicated. I did my navicular. I still got a screw in there. It still gives me some problems. So it seems like everything's going to be fine at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be totally fine. Look, it's definitely not a poor me situation at all. I'm obviously still looking forward to everything we have going, race day live, pre-show, post-show, get to call the wild card races. Like the next 3 weeks are going to be so much fun. But yeah, I was looking forward to riding. I was having so much fun. And even in the couple warm-ups before that happened, man, it just like having good Supercross suspension. I missed that feeling. And I was piecing together some big lines through the two rhythm lanes. Like it was just, I was having a blast. But
it's crazy how much you can get away with Supercross suspension too. Totally. You go a little long in a rhythm section. You're expecting that thing to bottom out and send you right, send you left. And there's just so much leeway there. But like I said, as long as you're going fast, if you're going slow on that setup, it's like a jackhammer, dude. It's brutal. But yeah, okay. So the wrist thing sucks, of course. Could be worse. And still, we've got a lot to look forward to here coming up. We got playoffs, a lot of money on the line. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We got Chase coming back. And I said this last week, and we'll dive into it more here once we get into the show. But I really, really like the playoff format for Eli Tomac. I really like it. I just think it's the exact style of track that Eli his style suits so well. And we've seen a little bit. We saw that at Charlotte last year. But I think it's a great opportunity, too, for guys that have not necessarily had the best years to kind of have a little reset after outdoors, little weekend off, and then come in and kind of redeem their year. And really, Anaheim 1's just around the corner after the playoffs are done. So I think what these guys, guys that haven't had a great year, if they're able to turn it around for the playoffs, I think that does a lot as you go into the offseason, try to make another step going into 2026. So, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for some guys to go out with a bang. JB, what's up with this points format? I feel like we need to break this down for people.
Yeah, we can break it down. One thing that I will say, you mentioned Tomac. You like it for him. I'm going to do a little golf comparison here. And here's why I believe – well, here's why, for one, I'm so excited. Because I do believe that everybody on the line lining up against Jett for a full championship for 17 Supercrosses or 11 motocross races, 22 motos, I don't know if there's very many guys that truly believe that they can beat him down the stretch, just beat him straight up for a championship. So that would be like you playing a scratch golfer. Like, for 18 holes, it's probably not happening.
It's not happening.
But could you beat him for 3?
Yeah.
3 holes?
I got that.
That's why I love this. This is awesome. Like, I think it's so amazing because I do believe that Eli thinks, Chase believes, Hunter believes, even a guy like Justin Cooper, Ken Roxon, like for 3 races, these guys can do anything. Maybe not for 17. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it feels more realistic to the guys to go beat Jett. And none of them are going to say that. They're not going to come out and say,
No.
oh, I don't think I can beat him for 17 races in Supercross. But it would be hard to beat him straight up for 17. Do you agree with that? Like, I just think you can really focus for these 3 weeks, and anything can happen in 3 weeks' time. And everything it's not completely reset. We can talk about the point system and kind of the seeding, but I'm excited for it. Anything can happen in 3 weeks.
I agree with you. 100%, JB. And I think it's the same thing in the 250 class too with Hayden Deegan. I mean, Hayden was far and away the best guy during outdoors. I mean, SMX, he won it his first year in 2023, won it last year. And again, I think with his riding style and how aggressive he is and how intense he is, I think his riding style translates a lot better to SMX than even Supercross too, because SMX is the type, and I talked about it a lot on Race Day Live during Supercross, where you cannot just go out on a Supercross track and hit it with a bunch of intensity and that's going to translate to you going fast. Sometimes in certain areas of the track, it can work like that. But Supercross is so much finesse. I think SMX is way more like who wants it bad enough, who wants it more. And so I think Hayden's going to be really tough to beat. But that being said, 3 races, and then we'll talk about the seeding a little bit. The leader, the number 1 seed, that's Justin Cooper in the 450 class. And then Hayden Deegan in the 250 class. They're going to start with 25 points. Second place is going to be 22 points. So on and so forth, but with double points at St. Louis and then triple points at the finale in Vegas. Like, yes, the seeding is there, but because of the double and triple points, I mean, it's kind of designed that way for a reason, right? Hopefully for it to come down to the last race. Somebody like Kenny or Eli gets hot, or even starts can be like that too. Somebody like Eli could come out, get a good start at Charlotte, and just kind of have that confidence going for the next few rounds and just be that guy, be up there, have that momentum. But in the 250 class, same thing. I think guys like Joe Shimoda, Julian Beaumer, Levi Kitchen, I think it's much easier for those guys to wrap their head around beating the guy in the 250 class, that's Hayden, for 3 races than it is for a full season, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting with Hayden. I mean, he's so good at these races. He's just so good. He's so creative. I mean, remember last year where he's going up on the backside of that berm in Charlotte and cutting underneath of people, and he was just making passes when a lot of the other riders were saying it was almost impossible to pass on that track, and it was not for Hayden. Piecing together that quad through the rhythm lane, he's just so creative, and you can really that pays off, I guess, at these SMX tracks. And, let's be honest, the weakness in Supercross is the whoop section for a lot of these guys. Well, no whoop section in SMX. So I like it. 3 years ago, this is the 3rd year now. 3 years ago, we're all wondering, what's it going to be? What's it going to look like? How's it going to feel? Playoff system in SMX. Like, wait, what's all this? Man, I couldn't be more stoked, honestly. Like, it's worked out great. Each and every year, it's went down to the wire. Last year in Las Vegas with Hunter and Jett tying for the $1 million in the 450 class, and Hayden was dominating the 250 class. But to your point about the single, double, triple points, man, it's a lot of guys are saying, well, Charlotte doesn't mean so much. Man, I totally disagree. If you're a guy like, let's just say Ken Roxon, he's the 11 seed. He's already down a handful of points. He needs some points. Yeah. So even single points, he needs to claw some back, even from a guy like Justin Cooper starting with 25. Jett Lawrence, number 2 seed, he's obviously the favorite. So you got to claw your way back to even have a shot at that triple points in Las Vegas. And for you and I on Race Day Live, there's so many different talking points. Like, we could go into the track, the bike setting, the uniqueness of the format, the seating, the single, double, triple points, the venues. I mean, it's going to be pretty hot on Saturday here in Charlotte. It's going to be 90 degrees.
Oof.
We're having a day race, like 2 20-minute motos back to, like, it's difficult. So there's so many different things to talk about, so many different variables. And that's why I love it. It challenges the guys the most. in the playoffs, which I believe that's when they should be challenged the most.
And I think now we're getting to the point, third year, where it is a different discipline. Like we kind of still look at it like, okay, there's Supercross guys and there's motocross guys, and then some guys are great at both, of course, but I think we're starting to get to the point now where we can be like, well, that guy's good in the playoffs. That guy is good at SMX, at these hybrid style tracks, because it's different. You have to ride it differently than you ride outdoors. You have to ride it differently than you ride Supercross. And so we are finally getting to the point where we're like, who's going to be the best on these kind of hybrid style tracks? And that's one of the things. It's one of the things I wanted to ask you. What I wanted to talk about is what makes a rider good at SMX, at these style of racetracks? Like, in your opinion, what do you need to be successful in this format?
Yeah, I think a couple things. The first thing that comes to mind is intensity, because Supercross, you can be pretty relaxed. You need to be precise. You need to hit your marks. It's a game of inches. I say all the time, if you miss your rut in a Supercross bowl turn by an inch, you're going to stand the turn up or lay it down too far. Like, it becomes a game of inches. And then you can really gain some time in the whoops. If a guy's really good in the whoops and it favors you, a specific track, you can make up a second a lap just in the whoop section. Now let's talk motocross. Motocross obviously rewards intensity, but also creativeness. You got to be creative. You can't really, you can override a motocross track, but it gets really, really hard. And I think SMX is a blend of the two. You have to be really precise. You have to be very creative to make some time. But you think about what's going to separate somebody. It's being intense. It's like, it's being how Hayden Deegan rides. It's why you mentioned Eli Tomac. He's very, very explosive. He's very, very intense with his riding, and it rewards that. Now you say, well, Jett doesn't ride that way. Well, Jett's different. He rides totally different. You can ride like Jett and be good at anything, right? Just his technique. So I think of a guy like Hayden, who's done so well. And I think of like, for me, going back to like old school fair races. I know you had some of those in Florida, but how do you gain time on somebody that there's nothing different on the track? You're not doing anything different. It's being that little bit more intensity here, a little more intensity there, and it really rewards you here in SMX. I also think being adaptable, because your bike's not going to feel good on half the track. If you have Supercross suspension or even close to that, and we'll talk about the track map on why you're going to need that here in Charlotte this weekend, for half the track, it's not going to feel very good. And I experienced that on Tuesday before I broke my wrist. It was awesome in the rhythm lanes. I was having so much fun. But when I went to because I was riding the SMX track, when I went to the sandier part of the track, had some acceleration chop, man, I'm like, this shock needs to be like 2 spring rates softer. But then you go to the Supercross side and you're piecing together rhythm lanes. You have to have it that way. So I think several things. That's why I like it so much. But in your opinion, what stands out the most to you? What makes somebody so good at an SMX track like the one coming up this weekend?
I think a lot of what you said. You're a very knowledgeable dude, JB, which is why I asked you that question for our audience. My thing is, like, my first year, and I did the playoffs in 2023, and there's something challenging about in SMX thus far. It seems like there's always been there's no whoops, but there's always been that one section, that one rhythm lane that we saw. You were talking about it at the start of the show, where Hayden was doing the quad, where RJ jumped off the track and hit a tough block and hit that concrete wall. Let's take the concrete walls out this weekend. I hope to not see any concrete out there, by the way. But I think being able to hyper focus on the section of the track that is really going to decide the race, because I found it difficult kind of over near the start section at Charlotte, kind of the far side of the track, the outdoor portion, where you kind of just hit it with a lot of intensity, right? I mean, that's the name of the game. You're riding like an outdoor track, and then you get to the big rhythm lane and then all of a sudden you have to be very, very precise, especially if you're running like a softer version of your normal Supercross setup, because JB, a couple clicks softer on a stiff rhythm lane, that's when stuff can start getting out of control. You go a little long, the forks get low, then they're kind of decompressing off the face of the jump, and it can send you right, it can send you left. There's a bunch of things that can happen. But I think because there is no whoop section, and let's face it, in general, I think it's harder to make up time on a track like this.
Yeah.
Which means you cannot mess up whatever the section is, and we'll know 5 minutes into the first free practice what that section is going to be. But whatever the section is on the track, it just is more important to get it right every time, because there's not going to be a whole lot of time to be made up on certain areas of the track. So I think it's precision. At the end of the day, guys like Jett that could fall over, be in 15th place, and then be in third 3 laps later on a Supercross track because he had the whoop section here, or a couple other technical on-offs that he can make a lot of passes on. There's not a lot of sections like that in SMX. So it's just, I think it's important to not make mistakes.
Yeah.
End of the
Yeah,
day,
I
that's
agree.
the name of the game.
Yeah. I have a question for you. We've talked about Jett and Hayden being the favorites. Who can beat them? Can anyone beat them?
See, there's a difference. To me, there's a difference. The best guy, I don't know. We could debate on this actually, and I think we had this debate when Coop and Chase were going out in Supercross. But to me, the best guy doesn't always win, right? I mean, the best guy can get a bad start, can tip over, can do this or do that. Like, can they beat Hayden? I think guys like Joe Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, Julian Beaumer, I think they possess the skills necessary to beat Hayden. I think some things have to go right, especially with how dominant Hayden's been in this specific discipline. Like, those guys know that they have to be perfect. And that's a different mindset than someone like Hayden goes to the gate with, because Hayden knows he doesn't have to do it. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect, because he's just that good. He's able to overcome some of his own mistakes. And at the end of the day, he just knows he's going to the front, which I think is probably his biggest advantage in racing, period. But to your question, I think you got to talk about Joe Shimoda. There was some smack talk too at Budds Creek at the last race. We talked about it in Supercross. Seemed like Joe did not like Hayden whatsoever, because Joe had a couple bad races there in the middle of Supercross towards the end. He would run into the side of Hayden. It looked like for no reason, looked like unprovoked. So those two, although I've seen Joe they've both been pretty respectful as of late. But I think Budds Creek, the blood pressure was starting to raise a little bit, which got me excited, which got me really excited for these playoff races. I think someone like Joe, look, we know he's unreal for whatever reason at the end of the season. Like, that's just his wheelhouse. That's what he does. I think Levi Kitchen is a guy, I think he's got a lot to figure out. He's definitely not had the year he's wanted to, and he'll tell you that. But I think he's a guy that can go there and do it. Who am I leaving out? JB, you got anybody else?
No, I love it. I think, the biggest question mark to me was Julian Beaumer was laying on the ground, looked to be injured at Budds Creek. If that wouldn't have happened, I would be in on Julian Beaumer. Think about last year. That was his coming out party. That's when we started really talking about him, was in Charlotte last year. It was like him and Davey Millsaps did something during that couple-week break, and it was like he was a totally new guy. And then that followed all the way through Supercross with winning, there in San Diego. And so, can somebody be this year's Julian Beaumer? I think the biggest one to me would be Levi Kitchen. Levi, he has all the ability, all the talent, the skill, the bike, the team, like the mental, like he's got it all. It's just, can he execute 6 really good starts and 6 really good motos where he can battle with Hayden for that SMX World Championship. And AC, you made an amazing point right there. I want you to elaborate more on that, or even for the listeners, imagine going to work or doing something where you know that everything had to go exactly right, or you were driving to work and you knew that to get to work on time, you had to hit every green light. You had to not hit any traffic. That is stressful, right? But that's everybody else. That's everyone lining up in the 450 class except for Jett, and everyone lining up in the 250 class except for Hayden. Now on the other side of the spectrum, you have Hayden and Jett, 250 and 450 obviously, that they're leaving home. They don't care if they hit a red light. They're going to be fine.
Yep.
They don't care if they run into traffic. So just imagine, I thought that was an amazing point that you made that could illustrate how these other people, because you and I have felt this, right? Like, I knew that when I was going to the line, everything had to be exactly perfect for me to get on the podium. And that's stressful. You go to the gate with anxiety and stress. So just a great illustration I thought that you made for the folks at home listening on just what the pressure is like and the difference of how the guys feel going to the line. That was great.
Thanks, JB. Well, the mind, as you know, doesn't know the difference between your imagination and reality. It doesn't. Yeah. And there was times, I'm only talking about myself here, guys, because it's a good way to kind of tie the point in. But there's times where you go to the gate and, you know, I like to sit on the gate and before the sight lap, close my eyes and imagine. I like to have all the lines that I was going to hit in the first lap picked out. You can kind of get this image in your head of how the race is going to go. And there were times in my career where I was confident, where that was easy for me to do. Like I could see the end of it. I could see me standing on the podium and going over the checkered flag, waving at the crowd, doing a belly flop into the mud, Aaron Plessinger style, something like that. It was easy for me to see. But there was plenty of times too where it was really hard. Like my mind couldn't see it because I didn't have that confidence in myself. And that's what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's what that is Hayden's superpower. And how many times in general, in life, on the bike, guys you've raced, whatever, how many times have you seen somebody that doesn't necessarily strike you as someone that's going to make it or someone that's going to have a lot of success in what they're doing based off their skill set, but they are just like delusionally confident in themselves? And for those people, it works out almost 100% of the time. And I think that's what Hayden's had since day one that sets him apart from everyone else. Is for whatever reason, he knew that he was going to figure it out. Like there wasn't anything that was going to stand in his way. And I think his mindset has led everything else. His mindset has led everything else. And that's what guys like Joe Shimoda, guys like Levi Kitchen, Cole Davies, that's what they're trying to find. And I think on any given day, say, you know, Joe Shimoda, he's had a good run the last 6 weeks or so. He's had some big wins. So it's easy to be confident. It's easy for someone like Joe to be able to see that, to see it working out for him in these playoffs. But I think what makes Hayden different in what someone like a Joe is trying to attain is what happens when it doesn't go good. What happens when you get your tail kicked in? We've all heard the stories of Chad Reed going out there getting beat by 40 seconds and talking about, oh, I'm this far off. I'm this far off. And then the next weekend he goes and wins the race. Like, I think that takes a special type of person to get there and to be able to manufacture confidence no matter how it's going. And I think that's what Hayden has in the 250 class and nobody else has, and nobody else has been able to get to. And it's a really, really hard thing to do. That's why there's not many Hayden Deegans. So I think, can Levi Kitchen and Joe Shimoda ride a bike as good as Hayden Deegan? Yes, I think so. Yeah. But it's upstairs. It's between the ears, dude. That's where he's got them all beat. But at any given moment for these guys, it could click. Like some people are born with that natural kind of predisposition to be that confident to be like that. And there's other guys that have to kind of reach that conclusion through a bunch of experiences. And I think, yeah, everything that I've seen with, Levi and Joe, to me, they could be candidates to be that guy at some point. I mean, we've seen stranger things have happened, for sure. But JB, it's hard to beat somebody that thinks like that, dude. It's like, God, it can feel impossible at times, because it's like no matter what goes wrong, they always seem to be able to bounce back, always be able to adapt and figure it out. And that's what Hayden's got going for him. But if you're Joe, you're Levi, we haven't talked a lot about Cole Davies yet. He's kind of a question mark, because we know he's unbelievable in Supercross. And we saw a good moto from him at Budds Creek in motocross, but we're yet to see him in SMX. So it's a bit of a question mark. But guys like that, that's what they're looking for. And who knows, man? Maybe Joe is pissed off enough after Budds Creek where he's just coming in guns a-blazing. I could see it.
Yeah, could definitely see it. And you know what I'm thinking now that we're in the third year of this seeding means more than I thought in the beginning. I was thinking, 25 points, Justin Cooper and Hayden, they've got 25 points. But man, this means a lot. I mean, you mentioned Cole Davies. Let's look. Cole Davies is the 17 seed. So he's already down a bunch of points.
Yeah.
So this is really meaning a lot. And then think about Justin Cooper comes in with that number 1 seed. Sexton's number 6 seed. Roxon's number 11. Eli Tomac's number 7. Like, this stuff means a lot. So I really think, and then a guy like Malcolm Stewart, consistent all year long, he comes in as the number 3 seed. So the consistency, I think, throughout the year, especially once we get later in Supercross, I think you and I should really, really dig into the seeding, where guys are at, even, like I said, even as early as, round 10, 11, 12 in Supercross. So this stuff's it's very, very important. Cooper Webb, Supercross champion, he comes in as the number 4 seed. So he's still up there, but, still giving away some points. So talked a lot about 250, 450 class. What do you think? Hunter, can he get it done? He obviously tied Jett last year. Great starter, number 5 seed. So what do you think about 450 class?
That's what I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna ask, out of the contenders in the 450 class, we know that Jett goes to the gate every time, knowing he's going to win. And there's nobody else like that. But out of the contenders, you got Hunter, obviously, who just won a moto at Budds Creek. We had a debate as to if Jett let that happen or what, but Hunter's 100% gotten better. Got his first win in the premier class at the second round of the playoffs in Dallas last year. So we know he's good in this format. We have Eli Tomac. Eli Tomac did not won a race in Supercross, got hurt, came back, had some flashes during outdoors. It's still in there, 100%. I do not think, I really think, after listening to him talk, I really think the bike setup had a lot to do with Eli's kind of inconsistent results. We know that's how Eli's always been. When he's not comfortable, he's not going to send it, which is respectable and one of the reasons why he's been able to be so durable. But I think this format suits him perfectly. Mm-hmm. We got Chase Sexton. This is the biggest, I guess, question mark to me right now. When Chase came back, like halfway through the outdoor series, he said that he was coming back so he could be ready for the playoffs. Had an unbelievable ride at Washougal. Was on his way to doing the same thing again in Ironman. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great ride.
Had the crash. Shoulder sat back out. But you got to imagine he's hungry. Hasn't raced as much as Jett in the last 3 or 4 months. Right? We think... Well, no, we know this is his last 3 races with KTM. So I think Chase is the only guy out of the contenders. I don't think Eli, Kenny, Hunter, Justin Cooper, I think those guys think they can win, but I think they know a lot has to go right for him. I think Chase is the only guy that truly believes that on any given night, he can actually just straight up be better than Jett. And I'm not quite sure if he can or not, but he's definitely the closest thing to that.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like for Chase right now is literally as we sit here today, he's already at a points deficit to Jett. He's 6 down to Jett. He's the number 6 seed. Obviously, Jett's the number 2 seed. So once again, like I said earlier in the show, I think this weekend is hugely important for a guy like Eli Tomac to get some points back off Jett. A guy like Chase Sexton, get some points back. Ken Roczen, the 11 seed, he's only got 11 points to Justin Cooper's 25 or Jett Lawrence's 22. So he needs a big day. So that's, Adam, I think for you and I, that's going to be a huge talking point. Obviously not only right now, but on Race Day Live. It's a big deal to claw these points back as we sit here, even before we line up. You know, it's going to be a definitely a big talking point. And I would think for a guy like Chase, just talking about him specifically, maybe it's not a must win, but man, it's got to be on the forefront of his mind. Like he has to claw some points back off Jett.
Well, I don't know what's happened with Chase like since Supercross, but I feel like he's a different guy. I just get that feeling. Like I really don't. Chase has been a friend of mine for, since I was 18, 19 years old. I don't talk to him a lot. I'd never text him and be like, "Hey man, how's racing going? How you feeling?" But he seems like he's like more confident in himself. He strikes me as like more empowered or something. And I kind of got that feeling before kind of he won Washougal, before he had that crazy good ride at Ironman as well. And so I do think, and we talked about it a lot during Supercross, I think Chase has the skill set, the strength, the fitness, everything he needs, I think, to be as good as Jett, to even beat him over the course of a championship, a full length championship. But he's got to make that mental step, that knowing you're going to win, that knowing it's going to work out, and being able to adapt and not, to be able to come in clutch at the right time. So, because so much of it is just performing well at the right moments to win these championships. I think we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
With Chase Sexton. I really think we're on the verge of a breakthrough. But, and this is a little off topic here, but what if he just comes out and wins like 2 out of 3, wins the SMX World Championship, and then gets on a different motorcycle? Like, dude, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna flip this desk if he comes out and it's just the best Chase Sexton we've ever seen, just for him to start from scratch on a different motorcycle. I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna get back into the playoffs, but I just had to say that. Like, well, it's almost like for Chase, you'd almost rather go out there and leave something on the table, so you can feel like, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to a new team now. This is why.
Some wiggle room.
This is why right now. If he goes out there and just does the thing, man, that sucks for him, dude. I mean, it's great, but it also sucks.
Yeah, but in his mind, he could be better on something else.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
you're right.
It could happen. It legit could happen. He could win 2 out of 3. He's that good.
He is that good. And here's the thing about SMX. 3 races over the course of the entire year in pro motocross and supercross, you're going to have kind of these peaks and valleys, races where you miss the setup, where you're not feeling it, where you're sick, where you're hurt, things aren't going great. And you have time to right the ship a little bit. You got to minimize your bad days, but you have time to kind of get the momentum back on your side. And that happens all the time. In SMX, there's no time. Like if you come out in Charlotte, miss the setup, get bad starts, any of that stuff that is so much based on confidence momentum, there is not time. There's not time to right the ship. There's not time to figure it out. Like everything has to be dialed in right away. So to your point, yes, it's double points, triple points, like we were talking about at rounds 2 and 3. But more important than ever, I think, to come out hot. And I think the guys that are going to end up winning this thing are going to be their best selves from the time the gate drops at Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna throw a sleeper pick at you. I'll throw a sleeper pick.
Yep, hit me.
Look, I do think Jett's the favorite. Obviously, we probably all do.
Mm-hmm.
But Justin Cooper, man. Justin Cooper could be a legit sleeper pick.
No
He's got the
whoops.
most points. He's got the number 1 seed. I mean, we've seen multiple times. How many race wins does Justin Cooper have right now in Supercross if there was no whoops? 4?
I was going to say 3. I was going to say kind of Trey Kennard 2011 vibes.
Yeah. Well, this sets up perfect for him. I mean, I'm just saying it. I would not be surprised if Justin Cooper comes out and is very consistent like he normally is. I was rewatching Charlotte from last year, and he qualified fastest 1 year ago. So he's got speed. He's got more confidence than ever right now. He had a great season. I mean, you don't just luck into being the number 1 seed. You don't luck into that.
No.
Multiple times he qualified fastest in Supercross, even with whoops. I wouldn't be surprised, man. I would not be surprised. So everyone out there, sleeper pick for me, Justin Cooper. Maybe it's not a huge sleeper pick. It wouldn't be a massive surprise, but yeah, I like everything I'm seeing from the 32.
For any young riders out there trying to get better, watch Justin Cooper hit a corner. That guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the best, maybe the best at times we saw in Supercross this year, because there were races where the whoops, he was not having any fun in the whoops. He's losing a lot of time, and he was still on the podium. He was still competitive, and that's because he made it happen on the rest of the track too. And one thing about Jay Coop is he's a great starter, but he's also a streaky starter too. Like when he gets good starts, like if he whole shotted Charlotte, I could see him whole shotting 2 out of the 3 races. Like he's that guy. But I really do think it all comes down to where Justin Cooper sees himself fitting in.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of been the guy that is there, that's solid. I mean, he's number 1 seed. He is one of the best guys, but he's kind of been that under the radar, kind of consistent, nothing too flashy type of guy, quiet. Like, can he see himself winning these things? I think if he can see himself winning these things, I still think right now with Jett's skill set, with Chase's skill set, I still think it would take a little bit of luck for him to win an overall at one of these playoff races. But I think mentally it's the same thing we were talking about with Chase. But mentally, if he can start to see himself as that guy, I think that's gonna do a lot for him. You want to break down this track map, JB?
Hold on, one more thing for one last thing. One last thing. A guy who sees himself always as a winner. Where does this guy fit in? Cooper Webb. We have not seen him in a while. He's a Supercross champion. He's a 3-time Supercross champion.
Unreal.
Where does he fit into all this? Because I don't know.
He probably doesn't know either.
Yeah,
he probably doesn't know either. But when you're a 3-time, when you're a 3-time Supercross champ, and he gave us one of the best interviews we've had on our show since we started doing it. We had him on a few weeks ago, and he was great. I love where his head's at right now. I love where his head's at. I think, like we were talking to him, I don't think he ever saw himself being a 3-time Supercross champ. And when you have that in your back pocket, there's a little bit less of like this desperation, this absolute need, this gun to my head, it has to happen. I got to do this. And I think for someone like him, I think that's good. Like, I think he can come out low pressure. He could go out and he could be a 5 to 10 guy, and that's fine. Sky's not falling at all. Yeah. But can it surprise you if he goes out, gets a start, figures out a way to run up front, to get a moto win, to be on the podium? It wouldn't surprise me at all. The only thing I will say is Like, Coop is a racer. And we've seen him in Supercross always get better as the season goes on. And so with his injury in Pro Motocross, with him kind of coming into these races cold, where you got to show up, like we talked about, you got to show up and be there, the intensity, everything right off the bat. He's coming off a knee injury, so there's always some questions there. As a rider, it takes a while to feel completely confident when you've had your knee worked on a little bit. So that would be my only question mark for him, is will he be able to find the intensity after kind of sitting on the couch here for the past couple months, JB?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough, but hometown.
You never know. With that guy,
North Carolina boy.
With that guy, you never know.
Yeah. Let's break down the track, AC. This you rode here a couple of years ago. Track, obviously the track has changed, but not a ton. Still have that one long rhythm lane. We've got a split start here again. That's going to be unique. That's going to be really unique to try and make these two starts equal. Obviously, one of them you're going left. We talk about that all the time. That's the preferred way to go off the start because you have your rear brake. The other way, you're going to turn right and then left. So it's a unique track, AC, but it looks fun. Looks really fun.
These SMX tracks, to me, are almost always look fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like in the on Supercross, straight up Supercross, there's almost always a section on the track where you're like, I really, really got to lock in here so I don't just KO myself.
Yeah.
You gotta be so unbelievably locked in. In SMX, like I talked about in the beginning of the show, there are going to be sections, absolutely, that require 100% of your attention. You're going to have to be precise in certain areas. But I think SMX in general, you can be a little looser with it, like with your mentality. I remember going out the first time, Charlotte 2023, practice on Friday, and there's a smile on everybody's face. Like it's just it's a fun format. It's a fun track,
format,
like you said.
I think it's great. I love the format. I love Friday. Friday is so fun.
Tell me about it, dude. Tell me about it. I always think back in the day, too. I often forget that it hasn't always been just a one-day show up Saturday and that's it. Those guys used to get to the track on like Wednesday, bro, and and have so many practice sessions, day qualifiers, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, okay. So let's take it from the top here. Split start, which is I think happened every year at Charlotte so far.
Yeah.
Just taking a look right here. Just taking a look at the split start. That's going to be weird. Like the way that the gates are lined up, you're going to be roosting. Like there's no doubt to me, unless they have something directly behind. Like those guys are going to roost each other, no doubt. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have some dirt down your shirt right off the bat. Very tight. Looks like a very tight first turn for wherever you line up. And to me, this is where it's going to get tricky. Is this 90-degree turn, this left-handed 90-degree turn before the hole shot stripe, kind of where the track comes together. To me, you gotta be on the inside for that 90-degree. So I think the automatic advantage would be, I guess, would be the left, be starting on the left side. So you have that inside going into the 90, because it'd be really everybody's going to push out to those tough blocks on that first single right there and come to a stop, Justin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be tough because then if you line up there, then you have the right-hand turn as your first turn. So can you go faster turning left? And then obviously you have a right like that. It's going to be, going to be fun to watch.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go here after this real quick. But I just got to say, I really don't buy into the right-handed first turn being that much slower.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of guys ride with their feet on the pegs anyway these days. And in the first turn, dude, like the first turn, you're always just flat tracking it, dabbing your leg. Like it doesn't even matter. You're just going in there full of clutch, running into the guy next to you. It's not like you're just standard corner. So I don't know. I don't think the right hand start. I don't think the right hand first turn is that big of a deal, to be honest. But continue. I'm sorry to cut you off there, JB.
No, that's good. That's good to know. I think, I mean, I would feel because, a lot of guys like to line up the shortest distance to the first turn. So they're going to create a straight line to the first turn, straight line braking, and then they're going to turn. I always like to go a little bit further, like on a normal Supercross start. I would say just to the right of the box if you're turning left. Like Tomac started doing that once he got on the Yamaha. It was like he started lining up next to the box. He could carry a ton of speed. So I like to do that. That makes me way more comfortable in a left-handed first turn because you can just carry so much more speed. Now here, until we get there on Friday, we're not going to know exactly how long the first turn is. If it's not very long, then that straight to the, lining up straight, the shortest distance could be great. I like it. I think this is going to be a ton of fun, like especially for the fans sitting in the stands. Like, who's going to come out first? In that 90, there's going to be some chaos there. But then we jump right into the motocross section, the kind of faster. Like I said, you rode this. Was that difficult, or did you ride with Supercross suspension?
I did.
You did.
Yeah, it was straight up Supercross stuff. I mean, I think we went a couple. I think we went a little bit softer, but same spring rate, everything, nothing crazy. But like you said, I think in the motocross section, it is a little difficult. Like me specifically, I found that I always ran really, really stiff front forks.
Yeah.
And when you start to get some braking bumps here coming into some of these turns, I felt like my front end would kind of, like, of course, it's not absorbing anything. You're feeling everything in your hand. So for most of the guys, that means you're going to get arm pump quicker or more often than you usually do. And so I think it's really important to be deliberate on the motorcycle in these outdoor sections specifically. And what I mean by that, say coming in this first left-hand turn, you've got a lot of speed. What you would normally do is give it a bunch of gas, brake hard and short in the braking bumps, let the bike soak it up, get in the turn, do the turn. I think when you have Supercross suspension and you're going through braking bumps, I think it's very important to do a little bit of braking before the bumps start, and then just like Jett Lawrence style, Hunter Lawrence style. Ken Roxon's great at this. Over the bumps, just coast. No brakes. Because I don't know, you guys at home, anybody that rides at home, go out to your garage, to your bike, take it off the stand, hit the rear brake pedal, hold it down, and then push your rear end down, and then release the brake pedal, and then push your rear end down, and watch the difference in how the bikes work. So I think you have to kind of help yourself in those ways. Like you look at this track map, you see this outdoor section, you think, nothing crazy. I mean, how many guys do we know 1st to 20th that could absolutely rip through this section? But I think over the course of 2 motos, 20 minutes, I think it's going to be the guys that are deliberate and intentional like that. You have to kind of work around the motorcycle. Do you agree with that, Justin? Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're totally making sense. And this section, to me, it seems super straightforward. Real straightforward. Nice 180-degree left-hand turn. Then you do a couple jumps, go through the sand section, right-hand turn. Then it gets pretty fast. And that's where, Supercross suspension isn't too bad. For me, it would be the slower turns, like you said, going through the braking bumps. And then, man, worse than the braking bumps entering the turn for me was the acceleration chop with a Supercross shop on a motocross track. Oh, it just like rattles your teeth out, So, but it doesn't look like they're going to have that much of that here. So, yeah, full motocross section, some sand rollers, it looks like, some nice big jumps, big double. Then you come kind of back into what I would call the stadium, super fast. And then it's going to get pretty tight, Adam.
The one thing I have left to say, and we could say this about the sand section on the Supercross portion as well, but I think it's really going back to being intentional and deliberate. How many times have we seen in these sand sections? How many times have you specifically, or I specifically, tucked the front end in one of these sand corners?
Yeah.
So So easy to do. We talked about how much intensity matters in a format like this. Well, intensity is not going to pay off entering a sand turn, because what happens is you see this big, massive berm in front of you. Like it's just perfect. And all you want to do is go in with as much speed as possible, lay that thing over, and hope Simon Cudby is somewhere nearby and is going to get a sick shot of you berm blasting. But what often happens is you see that berm in front of you, you end up coming in super hot and then kind of misjudging things. Then you end up on the brakes as you're entering the turn a little bit too long. And then what does the sand do? The sand pulls the front end down. And then next thing you know, your gloves are dirty. You're dirty. You got 20 guys in front of you and you're pissed off. So I think in these sand sections, you're going to see a lot of that. Guys coming in too fast, pushing the front. Another spot you got to be super, super deliberate. And then, yeah, JB, this does get a little more interesting. Here's a little Monster Cup style coming back, going backwards on the start straight here. And these track maps, I love these tracks. They're so fun to watch these guys ride, but it takes a little finessing to figure out where the track actually goes. So you're jumping backwards, carrying a lot of speed. You're backwards down the start straight. And then you do a left-handed 180-degree turn over a single. Then you're coming backwards kind of up the start section there. And then another 180-degree turn right with a single over the concrete wall. And then you're doing a double over the start straight there.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
I like it. It's going to take a while to get figured out, though. This is going to be one of those tracks where you ride the first couple laps and you're like, okay, yep, I turn here. I go, okay, I need to open up this turn. Like, it's going to take a while to learn. It's not like Supercross where you go out there and you learn it lap 1, lap 2, you're jumping all the jumps. Lap 3, you're already in a fast lap. It's not going to be the case here in Charlotte.
No, I'm glad the guys are riding on Friday. But so we talked about like what is going to be the section on the track. And I think in terms of a segment, I think from the finish line to the whole shot line is going to be where the race is won and lost. Yeah, you can make up so much time in these little tight S sections going into the sand by the podium, and then I think that's going to be the biggest rhythm lane. I think there's going to be 20 different options of different triples, different quads you can do through that section. But this is where someone like Jett is so unbelievably good, because we talked about it. I remember talking about it on our show after Fox Raceway. Like it's so hard to not hear your motorcycle, like in sections like that. It's hard to like be patient and kind of feel like you're going slow, but often that is what is actually the fastest. And that's what Jett does so well. So I'm looking at this section after the finish line. You go through these little mogul sections and then a left, right, left into the sand. I think that's where someone like Jett is going to be very tough to beat right there, Justin. I think that's where the race is going to be won.
It's very similar to last year, that sand, big, long sweeper, and they had some big rollers in there. Remember how fast he was there last year?
Oh,
he's doubling into it. I'm sure, Cole, you could pull some footage from last year, but he was unreal. He was coming into the section like 2 or 3 mile an hour faster. And then you know what that does? That carries all the way through. It's just really hard to commit. So, yeah, that could be. And then you go right into the long rhythm lane. I can't wait. I'm watching over there, AC. We're going to go over there first practice on Friday and watch what the combos are. Is there a quad? Is there some sort of triple over a big one? Is there a table over 2? Like, I love seeing that and seeing the guys that can pull it off first and then start to get it down. Then you start to race it. One thing that a lot of guys don't know, or a lot of the fans don't know, is it's one thing to do the jump. It's a whole nother thing to race the jump. So what I mean by that is if you can get that rhythm down early on Friday and then you start to race it, you start to bring some more intensity. It could be 2 or 3 tenths faster than what you were doing the day before and doing the exact same rhythm, doing the exact same way through there. But now you're racing it. Now you're staying a little bit lower, or you're starting to search around. Maybe, the dirt could be just a tiny bit lower on the left then on the right. So those are the things that I look for in like I said, it's a game of inches, man. At the highest level, it is a game of inches, and guys that can figure little stuff like that out first, I'm always trying to look for that.
And that's a great point. We always talk about the guys that go out there and practice and actually do laps compared to doing a heater, taking a couple laps off, doing a heater, which, hey, I was that guy. So I can't give those guys too much of a hard time. But to be able to race a rhythm, to be able to race a section every lap and do it clean, the guys that do multiple laps in practice are the guys that have way of an easier time doing that come main event time. But your emotions get involved. Justin, I wanted to go out there and be the fastest guy, dude. Like, I wanted to go out there and be the fastest guy.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
That's it, JB. What are you most excited about? What are you most excited about? What suit are you wearing?
I'm not sure. I have a few. We need to get together on what color.
Oh, we will.
We're dialed.
Like, it's one thing when I made this transition to being this, media guy, Race Day Live, I was a little timid at first because I do, and I always will have so much respect for these racers. I mean, we know how hard it is, right? But I don't know if I'm just like getting older and it's just what happens or what, but I might just like pop off pre-race show.
Like what?
Post show. I don't know, dude. I don't know, but I've always been like, of course I want to be like, at the end of the day, I am a racer. I will always be a rider. Like I'm always for the riders. Right. But I'm also like, I've been kind of a little bit nervous to be too hard on somebody. Like, I always preface it with like, well, it could be this and it could be that, out of respect. But after watching the footage, I watched our Race Day Lives back, watched our pre-shows back. I don't think I'm doing that anymore, man. Like, I think if someone's blowing it, like if somebody's out there and they're blowing it, it's nothing personal, but I'm just going to say it. Yeah. I think I'm just going in. I'm just going in, man. Yeah. You're going to have to hold me to that though. Cause I can talk all big right now, in my office at home. But when something actually goes down, like I'm going to try to be as unfiltered as possible. And I need you to lead the way, dude. I need you to lead the way.
I'm going to lead you right into it.
Okay.
When I see it,
I love that.
I'm going to tee you right up and let you go.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. No, I'm excited.
What am I most excited about? I'm excited to get back in the booth with you.
Me too.
I miss it, man. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
I really can't wait. And I just miss – I really do just like being at the races.
It is fun.
I really do. And it's nice. It makes – I notice that like this summer, having not having something to prepare for on the weekends, it's like there's something like settling about having something you're preparing for. Mm-hmm. There's a clear goal in your mind of like, I'm here, I'm doing this thing, and there's one thing at the end of the rainbow that you're trying to get to, and that's it. When like this summer, I wanted to take time, as I've said on this podcast plenty of times before, I wanted to take time because I wanted to figure out like how to be happy without having any type of vice at all, without relying on being overly productive or necessarily having something like that, like our job to look forward to on the weekends. And I feel like I've done that to a degree. But yeah, dude, there's just something simple about preparing and performing that I love. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. So you guys, I don't know what you guys are going to get. But it might not be super polished, but what you're going to get is a lot of enthusiasm out of me right here. JB, and I know you're right there with me.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go, baby.
9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Peacock, Race Day Live. And then remember,
Boom.
on Race Day Live, AC, we're going to be calling the wild card races. So obviously, we've been talking about the seeding. There's still some open spots. There's supposed to be 2 in each class. I can't verify exactly how many is going to be available, but I think 6 in the 250 class, potentially 4 in the 450 class. So there's still a lot on the line. Guys can race their way in. A guy like Max Anstey in the
That's what I
250
was going to
class,
say.
he's seeded in from getting his race win to start the East Division at Tampa earlier this season. So could he win the wild card race, get a decent gate pick? He's not going to have a great gate pick, but with the split start, could he be a guy that gets on the podium this weekend? There's so that's going to be fun. Get to call the race with you. That'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really cool opportunity for us to actually be able to call a race together. Yeah, I think it's one of those deals where you actually have to do it. You have to do it in order to get better moving forward. But there's no 2 bigger fans of two-wheeled racing than myself and you, Justin. So I trust that we'll figure it out, man. But in general, it's just such an exciting time of year. Genuinely, I love this stuff. A lot of money on the line, a lot of pride on the line. Let's go, JB. I'll see you in Charlotte, baby.
Let's go. Can't wait. See you in a few days.